to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to read through the minutes from October 3rd? So,
Yes, ma'am.
looking for a motion?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, next is Highway Randy.
Hold on, I gotta shut my phones off. Phones up.
Where mine now?
Plural.
Plural.
We can't have all these papers. You want?
Right.
Okay, I would go.
Start off with where we left off last meeting, with the health center electric bill, AKA the heating system was fighting the air conditioning system, and I think I explained that. We shut off the heat, or shut off the air conditioning manually, and the new bill is considerably lower. We needed to get under 2,000, we were at 2,400, and we are now at 1,300 for the last month. So it worked. We don't have to worry about the on-demand, because we caught it just in the nick of time, literally.
The man meter gets tough.
Yeah. So the next thing was, while about 2 days later, after I wrestled with this thing for 3 or 4 days, the circulator pump decided to go bad. And there was none in the country. There's supposed to be one in Seattle that we waited 3 days for, 2 days for, and then found out on day 3 that their inventory was off and they never told us. So I did some more research, blah, 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 blah. Found a company in Albany that had a facility in Rochester that had one, but their next delivery was the following Monday or Tuesday. And at this point in time, I was going down every morning, turning the circulator pump on, listening to it grind and make noise, and once the heat got up to temperature, shuttered it off, and then I'd come back at lunchtime and do the same thing because I didn't trust that it wouldn't literally fry it. I made some more phone calls and found a company in Utica that had one available for Thursday. We'd ship it and we'd have it Thursday. Now where it came from, I don't know. But it was a little bit more expensive one than what, it's for domestic water rather than just heat water. So now we have a new one in there and a backup. So that was Thursday. Friday I get a phone call from Carla that says there's no heat again. And come to find out, the fuel oil tank was empty. The gauge still read half tank, but both tanks in the basement were empty. I called the fuel oil company because we're on a regular basis thing, and oh, we have a new driver, must be he didn't know. Okay. So I went up to the garage and brought the fuel truck down and put 50 gallons in it. We made it through the weekend. They were here Monday morning. Put in 258 gallons, thinking it was full, but they only really filled one tank because there's just a tiny line that goes from one tank to the other. And their 2-inch line was too fast for us. Next day, that was Monday. Tuesday was no heat again, and somehow there must have been an air bubble because all I did is hit the reset and knock on wood, it's been running since. So I had about 2 weeks worth of that health center's heating system too long that I played with it. But it's been working since last Tuesday or Wednesday, and we're happy.
Did they fill the rest of the way up?
No, they have not been back yet.
So do we ever get the
Hopefully that'll be
circulator
enough.
pump from Utica?
Yes, that's the gold one. That's the one that's in right now.
And you have a backup.
And I have a brand new backup that came on Monday, sitting there.
And is
Came
Gary
on Monday.
Sneath getting the old ones to
The same
re-wrap
one-
them
The same guy that dropped that one off took the other 2
to Gary?
to get them rebuilt. not Sneed's, but
Okay.
in Albany. And while they're there, they serviced the heat, the furnace itself changed the tip, the burn, did the whole cleaning thing, and like you're here, service it. We normally do it in January, but I'm like, I'm not paying for another fee to come up here. So that's the health center in a nutshell, between electrical and heat. It's been a busy place. Now we're going on to the parking lot. As you see, we have more toys sitting out there. We're going to supposedly pave today, but today's Mother Nature decided was not a good day. So tomorrow's supposed to be a dry day, so we're going to try to do it all in one day tomorrow. Probably going to be a long day. So we have to put 2 coats on it, the base and then the top.
Where's that coming from?
Broadalbin, Empire. 9 truckloads to the first and 6 truckloads to the back last. So in theory, it's easy to do, but we'll see how it goes. Cemetery water has been shut off at all the cemeteries. Drain, everything that's done. Tennis court nets were supposed to be down today. I don't know if they got to the end of it because they're still out here messing with the parking lot at 4 o'clock, so I don't think they did. It'll be gone. Tennis nets will be down tomorrow morning. The pathway signs were also supposed to be taken down today, at least all the big ones, and then Dave usually goes in and takes the little ones. The garden hoses and all that fixtures and stuff are gone. The curb bumpers, if you notice in the parking lots, are gone also, so don't back over the side over here. And the boat wash station was picked up, the fence was picked up and winterized and put away. And 1 plow truck is ready for, hopefully not Wednesday's snowstorm.
Good.
So it looks like the little blue blob is getting smaller and smaller on the map, so,
Good.
okay?
That sounds good to me.
Okay. I got a package from New York State Parks and Rec for the trail mileage that we had to re-GPS everything this year. Lenny from the county helped us. We GPSed it and then he did all the shape files and all that work. And it comes back 2 miles shorter than what we had last year. So I, needless to say, called them up today and had a 45-minute discussion with them, which led into a webinar type deal on Wednesday at 2 o'clock to meet with their GPS people because we found a 1.79 miles that they forgot.
There you go.
And some reason she laid one map right over the top of the other map and said, well, they took it out because the GPS people could have said it was a new trail. And I said, well, where's last year's map? Can you lay that on top of the other one? And she sent me an email with it, and that's how we found what they took out. I said, well, if it was there last year, how come it's a new trail this year? And she had nothing to say, but we still have to go through the proper.
It's a state.
No, it's the state of New York. Yes.
Fight for every mile.
Oh, you do, and it's not only did they take 2 miles of regular route, they took 2 miles of high snow off because we're in the high snow area. I'm like, you're compounding this, and this is not good. You just keep taking, and we have to do more. That
So-
was that.
What's our total mileage?
56.
56. And do they have an amount per mile?
That had not been released yet. So it's usually 640, but it's been that way for 3 years now, so I'm assuming that's where it's gonna be. So, but we'll see how that works. The last thing I have here is I talked to the, I guess call it Highway / Parks Committee about the groomer coming / getting from inlet that we can't get until inlet gets theirs. That is not coming with a drag for it because they're keeping their drag for them. So we have 3 options. 1, we keep the drag we have off of the groomer that we're going to sell and then change the hitch assembly and how it hooks to the machine to fit this one, which then renders the one that we're selling, it's just a groomer, not a groomer and drag, that needs a very specific hitch. Takes the value of it.
That machine is basically not a groomer unless you have the drag for it.
Correct. And it takes the value of it way down. We bought it as a unit from the club. So the option 2 is to build one, which the committee asked me to get pricing. And the steel alone came to $6,009 without any cutting edges, hydraulic cylinders, wheels, tires, all that kind of stuff. So we're talking somewhere between $8,000 and $9,000 by the time we get done. Option C, I found one in Vermont from where we bought our big piston boys. That company has a used one for, I got them down to $7,000 for it. And that's what I suggested to the committee, and I believe the committee agrees with me. That way we get a higher dollar value for the one we're selling to compensate as much as we possibly can.
How much do you expect the groomer sale to drop?
It would drop probably, I'm hoping to get 12 to 15 for it. I bet it would drop to 2 or 3. It's just, they can't buy the thing and then try to start internet searching to find one, which I've already tried, to see if, it's a doable thing. And the only drag I found of this size, which is the one that's set up for what we need, not what they need. So they're basically gonna come here and buy a sidewalk machine. Something they can plow sidewalks with is that. And it's actually too wide for that also.
Yeah, the drag is specifically built for that machine. It's got
Right.
the drag steer and
Right, the drag steer and everything, it's built and it's narrower.
If you had another ram steer, does that help you at all?
No, because we
Actually,
don't
yeah.
want a ram steer.
I know.
We'd end up with 2
If you
then.
needed this one, I'm just saying, I have an extra ram steer.
Right, well, we're getting rid of ram steers onto the PV.
I know, but you wanted to keep the drag, right?
Right.
All right, remember, we'll talk later. I think I know what you're saying. I know
I-
what you're trying to get rid of it with the ram.
Right.
I just didn't know if this bought you any time.
No, I
I
mean,
was about to give you one anyway.
they would have a ram steer dragging behind. I mean,
Without
they
the-
still gotta buy.
But they would have the setup at that point. It wouldn't be as bad a sale as what
Right.
They would just have to find a drag, they'd have to cut it out.
Cut it up and,
Right, the right setup. So,
not toys.
just letting you know.
right,
I didn't realize you were selling that one yet, so
Yeah.
I'm about to give you another ram.
no, that's going,
I know.
we have no use for it.
Okay.
You want a resolution for the,
I would like one, if I can't propose it, so if the committee does that, yes.
Okay, so does someone want to move
I'll
it?
move
Is that what you're saying?
the expenditure, $7,000 for,
And the money would come out of the groomer fund.
yes, it's, money's there, it's just,
From Groomer Fund.
I'll
Okay,
second.
looking for a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Discussion?
Oh, discussion? Any further discussion?
Is there
Michelle?
anything else that this toy is going to need?
I'm certain, but not tonight.
I'm not.
To make it go out on the trails? I mean, we spent a chunk on a groomer. Didn't know when we approved that the drag behind it wasn't part of it.
Right, the last one wasn't either, we built one in the last one.
Okay, but that would be a hole for me being not part of the last one.
Right. And that being said, the last one was, like, just so you get the history of it, we built it in-house and it was like 5,000 and change. I know now that, just watching this new market, that steel was gonna be astronomical.
Yeah.
So when I called the guy, he was asking 75 on the internet for this drag. For me, I threw out the number of 6 in just high hopes, and I was actually astonished he moved it all because he knows the value of what he's got. I mean, steel is through the roof. this point. So, to answer that, no, now we have a groomer and a drag,
And the tracks are good on it.
and the tracks are good on it, and we're building tracks for the other one that we have now. So, far as I know, this is, they backed it in the garage last year and parked it.
Okay, so we've got 3 groomers and drags for 56 miles of trail.
4.
Well,
4 groomers
4.
for 56.
Correct. Because of the locations of where they are. We have the 200 that does Perkins Clarence, the main road section. We have the BR 110, which is the smallest thing that we have. We have 2 of those right now, but we're gonna get rid of 1. Up on 2 miles of hell, that's the only thing that will groom that. Knock on wood, that ever dies, we're gonna be begging to the state to widen that trail more. And
Good
then-
luck with that.
we should, yeah.
we have one that goes over to Fawn Lake and does the Fawn Lake Big Brook Trail, which starts off
I
here.
know where,
Okay. Then we have one that sits up at Fish Hatchery and does, let me see, if that would be east of the road, going over to Elm Lake Road.
and
up
this,
around that.
and the 4, so you don't have to trailer them in between.
Correct. Because if we did the whole trailering thing, and then you're one day here, spend, next day move over here, same machine. Now I can send 3, 4 guys out and have it all done in a day. Easily in a day. In 4 hours, actually. Except for Perkins Clarence, that's 7 hours, 8 hours.
Yeah, that's 48 hours, or 48 miles round trip
Right.
at 6 miles an hour.
And when you say 56 miles of trail, just want to clarify this is 56 miles of funded trails. There's a lot of trails out there that are not funded. All right? Pretty much 3/4 of what
You know
drag.
that, right, Paul?
A lot. We keep fighting and digging and grabbing every half a mile that we can to, but they have this clause that only seems to work for them. Now, that if the trail goes from point A to point B, and there's another trail that happens to be 10 miles longer, it goes to the same point, A and B, they're only gonna fund one trail. And you look down south of the Finger Lakes, and it looks like a spider web. Every trail goes,
Amazing, isn't it?
and I'm like, what, how do they get away with it? But they won't do it up here. So, they've reached their cap and they won't.
Does
Well,
it
it
have
has
to
to do with the park.
I was just gonna ask that.
It's the park, it's absolutely the
Adirondack
park.
Park.
They've reached their cap in the park and
They've made deals with the devil, with the Adirondack Mountain Club, et cetera, Sierras up in Rayburn. And when you see the sort of shell game, that's why. They're gonna keep it, even if we all know there's others. And then pass-throughs. In our case, you have to have all of those extras because of logging, right? So IP says, or Lime says we're gonna be logging here, you have to have a way around that. So there's, as you say, miles and miles and miles more, but they won't report them because they've made these agreements.
And if we build the trail around, say, logging, then we get the regular trail back and we don't groom the other one, within a year, Lime Timber's up there logging right through it, and they said, well, you didn't use it. So they won't rebuild it. They won't restore the trail back. So as we build these trails, we try to keep them on the map and
Some
use
traffic,
it.
yeah.
It sometimes seems redundant, but people like, oh, I like this one because you can see that mountain or that mountain. Well, I like it just because I get to keep Lime Timber on their toes, not to destroy all the trails.
Well, the way I look at this, if we sell the groomer with the drag, we're gonna probably get, what, 10,000 more for it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And this drag is costing us 7, so I think we're gonna be.
3,000 ahead if we do it
to the plus.
Yeah.
like that.
And it's gonna be a much more saleable item.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I mean.
I'm
We
hoping
get a lot more.
Auctions International ends up, we're gonna get a, bidding war against it. Like everything else that goes through Auctions International.
If we could sell the UTV, we can sell this.
Bingo,
Yes,
never thought of that
really.
one.
Oh, my.
These two don't know about that either. Well, Kathy might have heard rumors of that one.
Even I grew up with that one. Village.
So anyway,
Okay, so anything else, Randy?
Nope.
Trees
we
cut down?
We have to,
No, you
have
haven't,
to vote.
haven't voted yet. You're still close to vote.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so, all in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Any opposed?
next on my little list.
Oh, that's what he said.
I did, but she just reminded
He
me.
did say that.
Yeah, Thursday, the tree service vetter, is going to volunteer himself and a man to assist us in cutting the trees down next to the museum. So that is a great thing. Ryan Germain, the landowner next door, has given permission. He's set up a little time frame, which we won't have anybody in the rental house. So 10 o'clock Thursday morning, we're gonna move some rocks in this parking lot, come in the back way, and take down the big pine tree and a couple of those maples
Right.
that are shading that building.
Perfect.
I've asked Shorty to move the carriage in case it's, you know, he's strange rebrand. I don't know.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So he said he will have it moved by Thursday, so.
I think they got, for the winter, they usually do anyway, so.
Yeah. They're going to restore that carriage this year, and they've asked the town for paint. But it's a very specific paint that we don't have.
Of course.
We haven't resolved that yet.
Okay. Well, that's actually good news because they've been waiting all summer for those trees to come down.
Yep.
And it was just difficult to work Patrick Vedder's schedule, our highway department schedule, and Ryan's rental schedule.
Right.
The three had to work together. So it took this long. We've been working a good month, like every week, trying to, but it just, one didn't work with the other. So that's great news. Okay?
That's it.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so next is old business, budget officer, Nancy.
You sure now? Well, on the form that was, the different budget changes that was sent out, a little bit of a senior moment. I have two boo-boos on it. So, line 7140-103 should be 102. It's just, there was no line below it, so that was my, a boo-boo. And the other, A, 1110.102 should be 23,289, which is, because all that I wrote on a form was exactly what was on the budget that was printed. So I didn't take the $444 off that line. So it should be $23,289. And if anyone has any questions on it, send me an email, give me a call, and I guess we have a public hearing at the next meeting to...
Well, we were going to meet again this Wednesday, you, Neil, and I, after the insurance committee meeting to go through and do some more tweaking on the budget.
Right, and hopefully we'll have some insurance figures or...
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Should I mention something here?
When's the insurance?
Okay, so
committee?
we still haven't really gotten any firm answers. Steph hasn't, from Megan from CDL Insurance, who is the current one we've always used, the insurance agency. So I had gotten a call from an Arnie Morehouse, which is actually affiliated with our Aflac rep. He's from Marshall and Sterling, and he is willing to come up and talk to us. So I made an appointment for 10 o'clock on Thursday morning. They actually right now insure 150 municipalities from multiple counties. He will bring 3 different companies that we can look at to compare apples to apples, and then hopefully the insurance committee, between what Megan does with Steph and us on Wednesday and what he does with us on Thursday, hopefully we can finally come up with an answer here for the insurance, because it's getting a bit late now and we're getting a bit nervous about it. Steph, did I say everything you wanted me to say about that?
Well, I mean, we did meet with Megan and she did come, but I guess we wanted more than what she came with. She did come with comparison to CHPD, what is it? CDPHP, yes. She came with that one, but for what we have, what our employees have now compared to what they have to offer, it's going to cost a lot more to switch from the MVP to the CDPHP through that. And then, what else did she? Well, she did compare other plans with the MVP, but when you compare those, the employees were going to get less benefits for comparable. Well, it actually would cost them in the town a little bit less, but they were going to get a lot less. So where they're at now is not so bad, but the increase for next year is what, at 9 point something
85.
percent.
It was
Yeah.
9.85, which is quite
It's
high.
10%.
Right, right. So basically what we were looking for was a comparison maybe with like 3 different companies. I guess she misunderstood, so she kind of brought the MVP and had 4 different plans with MVP. Our current one that had less coverage, a silver policy and a gold policy. But we were looking for comparisons with other companies, and she didn't really have that. She did have a sheet of CDPHP, so she brought that out, which
Right.
wasn't really great. So she was going to send a packet to Stephanie so that Stephanie could get it out to the insurance committee, but as of today, this afternoon, we haven't received anything. So that's why
Right.
I talked to Neil and we decided it doesn't hurt to just check with another company, another agency, and see if they can do better or not, or at least we know then we've done our best. Due
It's
diligence.
not so bad for the retirees. Theirs is not going to go up that
No.
much. I'm not sure the percentage, but it's under $10
that's
a
not worth
person,
it.
which is not that bad, but it's just the employees' regular insurance
Right.
is
The-
definitely
The
going up.
problem here, and I'm not making excuses for Megan, as a matter of fact, I think that she's kind of dragging her feet here, blaming the underwriters, and that's fine, but everyone's aware, certainly anyone who sells to municipalities is aware of what the statutory dates are for us for budget. So, should be aware and react accordingly. Trouble is, CDCHP, when we last looked at those, 6, 8, 10 years ago, that company and the physicians, et cetera, that are in that universe were not particularly effective for the souls that we're trying to cover. And up till now, so it's usually been that or Excelis or Blue Cross Blue Shield or MVP. And now we're here with Excelis. You're going to have at least one big provider, health provider, that may not be taking that, which would not make many people happy if we were switching to that. So I'd be interested to see what the gentleman from Marshall and Sterling can produce. But as I said before, this is the biggest expenditure in our budget by a lot, and 10% of that, of course, is a lot, right? I mean, we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on health insurance premiums. 10% raise means tens of thousands more. So it's a big chunk when we're trying to fight the fight with LED lights and where we can turn off heat to save,
And phone lines.
dollars and whatnot. And doing a good job at it.
And traveling
but there's only-
expenses.
I mean, you gotta have a phone.
Yeah, no, I mean, but we're trying our best to, to be frugal in matters that we can control. This seems to be almost an uncontrollable train going forward. They tell you 10%. It used to be you'd get 6 or 7. Now they tell you 10%, and guess what? It's 10%.
I mean, that was figure high, 10% was what we were told.
The other thing we were also looking at was insurance carriers that our people here were going to be able to get coverage for. They were going to be able to go to Nathan LaTower and have Nathan LaTower accept that insurance, or wherever they're going to go in the area. Some of these other insurances are very narrow. You can't really take them. You can't go to Florida and use them on vacation, some of these other insurance plans. There's so many things you got to look into and factor it all in with it all too.
Yeah. So we'll see how we make out Wednesday and Thursday, and hopefully we'll have something firm, hopefully.
Plug in.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with that.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Just real quick, had Nathan Latour, I know Neil is or was on the board, and I know you asked the question, but are they even remotely thinking about going back to taking Excelsior or no?
Excellus.
Excel. There's no indication from the people I've called that they will. This is stuff that gets, fought out in the administration level, not the board level. And the administration will post numbers, and then the various different third-party carriers will say, well, we won't pay that. And of course, there's not many hospitals, almost none in our universe anymore, that are standalone. Litauer is a completely independent community hospital. St. Mary's belongs to a huge national, the largest Catholic organization. Used to be Carondelet, and then they got bought up, so now it's the absolute biggest in St. Louis. But all of these others, Saratoga, they've all been bought by either St. Peter's, or affiliated with either St. Peter's or Albany Med. So now they have great buying power to say, this is what a stay is going to cost, this is what a procedure is going to cost. They tend to try to bully a smaller community hospital. Litauer will dig their heels in when I was on the acting board. And I remember a period of months and months and months where CDCHB was not taken. And it caused ripples. I mean, this whole company, 600 people that you employ in a factory, they all have that. And now a lot of them had doctors or labs or whatever affiliated with Litauer. So it's a nightmare that it's kind of like turning a battleship around.
Right.
The fact that they sent that letter out, I said to Betsy, this is great. I mean, yes, we put in our 2 cents, and but these folks are like, well, you're going to force people to go to Utica, you're going to force people to go to one of the St. Mary's, or you're going to force them to go to Hudson Headwaters, which is a different universe altogether. But it's the chance they take, because Litauer knows if they won't pay it, we say yes to them, within a year or two it'll be Blue Cross Blue Shield, it'll be MVP or whomever. It's big business, and we're stuck in the switches. We, meaning this time, all the county employees.
Right.
And
it just took
we almost had that
a
ourselves.
possibility off of our table.
Well, it takes a big one off, but you still have, as I say, we haven't done it in a long time, but Blue Cross Blue Shield is still out there. So I'll be interested to see what these folks can do. But clearly, they're supposed to be working for a commish. You got to come up with some real choices. You've seen the paperwork, folders, and whatnot that we would bring the crew back when you were on it and with you guys. And it's, yes, you get this. Some of them have a little luggage on there that, oh yeah, you're going to be able to travel with that. We bought everything we could in those products each and every time to be able to afford it on our budget. It's to the point now where, as difficult as this may sound, I'm not sending this out as a warning for anyone, but yeah, sometimes you lose benefits when we have to go to a different program. Hopefully, we won't.
Could I just add, I'd like to publicly say thank you to Debbie O'Rourke, because with Steph being new,
Sure.
Megan being new, a lot of this has come up after I was employed by the town, and I never had town health insurance, so there were some questions, and I reached out to Deb today, and she filled me in on things. Steph and I had quite a long conversation about some of the health insurance things. I passed that along, and then Steph spent a bit of time researching what we have. So we're trying to work together and learn this together, and Bets, of course. But, it was just a group effort, and I'd like to...
Good for you,
Right.
and thanks to
It has. It's been a learning experience for me, and the health rep that I've been dealing with, that took over for Brian. She's certified, but she's new at the healthcare end of this. So, yeah, I mean, we're all
So-
trying to dive into it at once.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
Working as a team.
Yep, so Steph and I discussed this afternoon, Randy, on Wednesday, the guys were supposed to come in when Megan was there. I don't think we're ready for that,
Okay.
because we don't have, the committee has
Well, it's
not
trash day,
picked
so they're
Okay.
planning
a
to-
company,
Oh,
so,
it is called pickup,
so
you're
if you
right.
could just cancel that until we know where we're going with this.
Right.
Because this is just
You
getting
need all
out of
hands for
hand.
that,
Absolutely.
There's a lot of
and that's the
junk out
last
there.
one too, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's always a heavy
The mountains are already started.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so I just want to mention, I did say that Wednesday, Neil and Nancy and I, after 10 o'clock, will meet and we'll be working on the budget again. If anybody has any questions or concerns, reach out to Nancy and she'll sit down with you or whatever it is. We do have a public hearing, we've advertised, it had to be advertised for 2 weeks. That will be on November 7th, our next town board meeting. And then our budget adoption is going to be a special meeting on Thursday, November 17th at Town Hall at 5 PM. Kathy, can you make that?
November 17th,
Yep,
5 PM now.
yep, okay. And Rochelle can, Don, can you make that? Okay, so then we're all set? You can't, you're not here, Neil's not here, okay. So we're all set with that. So we're moving along, but again, if you have any questions or concerns and don't understand something on those lists that we sent out, please reach out to Nancy. So that's the budget. LPSA, the boat wash station, as Randy said, is put away. The Lake Stewarts have been done. I did send out a voucher about 2 weeks ago for the salary reimbursement. Total for this year was $9,554 and change, and we pay $5,000 of that. So they will be reimbursing us like $4,554. So we'll be waiting to receive that. Senior bus trip update. The schedule for the 2023, Paul, your dad may be interested in something like this.
We're really fun. Just getting connected.
Okay, that's good. The senior bus trip for '23 is here. Our seniors, a committee from our senior citizens and Wells senior citizens met last week. They came up with a schedule and they're actually, Pauline stopped in the other day and she's very happy because they're actually gonna do a trip to the Lake George outlets. So there's some different trips on here. So they're pretty excited about it. It's working out quite well. We of course still don't know what the bus trip expenses will be. Pauline was going to touch base again now that they've got the schedule done, but it seems like it's working out very nicely with the two towns merging and working it together. So that is a wonderful. And next we're on to new business, and Steph, I hate to do this, but I'm going to hand this over to you guys again.
That's okay. I haven't had enough fun with this yet, so I'm hoping I get
this
to
is
do
fun.
this all year long, every year. So we're at it again. I lost sleep over this one, so sorry, Randy. I'm really sorry. Yeah, I was really kicking all of us elected and appointed officials that were doing this because I definitely had it down wrong on the record of activities. So lost my mind again, went on the site and said, how could this be? I went through and did all their computations on here, and I think I sent it to everybody. Did everyone get that? And go through my numbers because you do want to check me here. So because you as the board have, just like before, have to pass this resolution, and it has to go through the New York State Retirement System's way of doing things. This is their resolution. Resolutions are a general term. This is their resolution. And I blocked off the Social Security numbers. And so we finally hopefully have this correct, because if not, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I have this down for tonight for you all hopefully to pass this. And I do have a resolution done up because they want this and theirs submitted to them after 30 days because this has to post again. So my hours are going to get small in the shadow box again so that I have room for two of these sheets, because there's this one and there's this one. But here's the issue though. We have the animal control officer on here. The animal control officer, luckily, and it's actually a good thing, has not had to service the town at all this year. So the animal control officer could not turn in any hours because they haven't had to during certain due to circumstance, do any dog catching, which is good. We're glad that we haven't had these poor animals stranded. But we had him down, come to find out, for 2 point something on the standard workday. Yet, if you look at our judge that's on here, the judge had turned down in hours that totaled up to a record of activity of 0.67. So, do we keep the animal control officer at the same as they were at the 2 point something? I'd have to look it up again. Or we can put them slowly less than the judge, or we can mark them as not submitted, but then they get a letter from the pension integrity saying that you did not submit hours, you need to submit hours, or we will take you out of the retirement system. So, and we still haven't had any dog catching yet this year, knock on wood. So we can leave him off altogether, just take him off, and he'll stay at the 2 point something. Or we can pick whatever you guys want. Or we can check not submitted and...
Randy, you have your hand up.
Yes, just throwing out one thing, because you said this to me earlier today. Didn't we have an inspection, a very thorough inspection last spring, from where Mike and his wife were there?
Ags and Market?
Huh?
Yes,
that's
Ags and
who-
Market.
that's who
That
it's
was
meant.
this
Yes, yeah.
spring.
Yes,
That was, I believe that was this spring.
Mhm.
I'd have to,
it was.
and that's got to be hours. I mean, not saying he's not doing any hours, I think is incorrect. I mean, I know he's probably saying, well, that's just part of my job, but
He can have a job
that's
any
part
day.
of his job.
Yeah.
He was there with this lady, and I know it was a good 2 or 3 hours in the front office.
And
going through
he
it.
has to maintain the building inside, doesn't he?
Yes, he's supposed to,
That's their
but
job.
obviously it's very easy to maintain, we don't
Yeah,
have
right,
that.
right.
Right.
But I'm just going with, I know when you said to me that he didn't, I'm like, wait a minute, they had the inspection.
Okay, I think that was last year when Debbie
Was.
was still here. It was last year. This year, Ags and Market came. I don't know that I was not in the office when they came. Was Mike and his wife there? Do you
I didn't
know?
see
But I would have to
anybody
think
for
they'd have
that.
to meet him there. So either way, they're gonna be there.
What about the judge
Spend
hours?
time.
Would you say 3/4 of an hour? What was the?
0.67.
One of them is 0.67 and the other one is not.
Judge.
We only have one attorney down. Or, I mean, one judge.
Oh, okay, you only put Katie down, so 0.67.
Yeah. Rochelle's another example. This will be, you guys could relate more to that as council people. 1.45 is her total.
Which is more.
It's a record of activity for a month. She works a day at 1.45 days is what it totals to. This is the record of activity.
How does Randy work 42 days in a month?
That was during snow plowing.
So they take an average of 3 months, and I keep track of all the time that I'm basically doing the whole job, grooming, what, on the state
I
road
mean,
and
that's
everything else.
just ludicrous.
Okay, but Kathy, so look at Stephanie's and look at mine. Stephanie's got a lot more than me because she did hers tax season. I do it all year long, the same hours, but she had to put in extra hours for tax season, so she gets more credit.
Well, this makes,
It makes no sense, but it's the
well,
retirement system.
that's the state.
We can do this all year long every 3
Oh,
months
yeah.
if you want to do it.
Listen, once every 2
We
or 3
can't.
years is enough.
Yeah.
We have never gone through it like this. This
My
has been
suggestion
observed.
is lower Mike and put in a lower amount. What's the difference? Most of this, I think you're mistaken in thinking this is the way they completely tabulate what they're going to put in your pension. This is all politics. It has
Right.
nothing to do with anything.
But they match it and check it against payroll.
I'm not
They
sure they
do.
don't, but my point is, a lot of this is just the regular job and the regular contribution and what's taken out. That's what's going in your pension. They don't match it to the amount going into your pension. Trust me. This is a lot of swishing the dishes for fewness of the food. As long as we're happy with the hours, you just put it in. And satisfy the controller's office that all Ts and Is and whatnot have been done.
And
Well, we had gotten a
superintendent
letter
is-
back that it had discrepancies.
Oh, I'm sure, because
Yeah.
there's bean counters everywhere.
Because it wasn't matching up with the payroll.
Well, because Randy was only half the hours.
We were only giving him
And
10.
it took me down to half the hours. and I was
He was
like,
getting 10, so.
I'd like to- I'd
By
like
the
to
way,
see the state
superintendent is
legislature-
Yancey.
What is it? How did I spell it?
No.
And you're right. Yep, we gotta fix that.
Okay, so what are you proposing here, Stephanie? What is your option here?
This resolution here, the Town of Lake Pleasant Town Board to approve corrections and replace previous standard workday resolution dated 5/5/22 with current resolution dated 10/17/22.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? I'm just thinking here.
Could there be?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Are you still in? You're going, right?
After all.
Okay, can I get a copy of that resolution tomorrow too, Stephanie?
Yes.
We'll have to get that up to
Yes, we'll get it.
the treasurer's office.
Up to par here.
Okay, anything else? So now this is it, right? Then this should be
Well.
done.
I hope so.
Come on.
It's October, it's gotta be done.
We got a few more months to go.
So next, we're going to move on to committee reports. Kathy, anything?
The short-term rental committee is meeting Friday.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Good luck with that.
If the committee's gonna work well together, it's just, no matter what. it's-
Did you see that packet that I gave you?
I have not.
That's actually from the Association of Towns. They had a seminar and someone had attended it, and that information is actually our area. So another
Okay.
supervisor from another area
Shared it.
dropped it off at the office for you.
I will share it with the committee.
Yep.
But, you know, our first meeting is going to be, you know, defining short-term rentals and
Sure.
what do each person on the committee
Yep.
have as a dream.
Or agenda.
And that's this Friday?
Yes.
Okay.
There should be lots of definitions to draw from the different towns.
Absolutely, yes.
Sure.
And Inlet has got their newest out, Rochelle, Christie asked Rochelle to share it, and theirs is going to be up for people to look and see for like all winter. So
Oh, good. Good. That's what we need to do. That's great that we have that option. Anything else?
Youth Rec has got some of our surveys back, so we'll be analyzing those and getting, making some decisions. We'll have to get together and see.
Okay.
Cemetery committee's gonna meet once things slow down.
Next week,
Next week.
is that good?
Okay,
Sure.
sure. Pick a day.
I'm
Pick
just
a
throwing
day.
it out there, just not this week.
Not between 7:30 and 3:30.
Okay,
It can't be on Wednesday afternoon.
all right. Well, let's go with like
Spring.
Monday at 4.
Monday, 4 p.m. at Town Hall. Got it. We'll finish that up before the year's over. What else did we?
Do we know when the cemeteries are gonna close? Like, do you set a date or is it weather permitting?
Usually it's snow, first snowfall,
Okay,
when I put the gates up. We're done burying.
Oh,
but stones to go in.
Yeah.
Kathy, you have something else?
no, it's a round table.
Oh, okay. Rochelle?
Nothing else to add.
Oh, you guys are nothing. Neil?
No, I think we already touched on the committee things that we were on while there.
Okay. Dawn?
Yeah, just the groomer, and we've already taken care of that.
Okay. Okay, next I'm looking for a motion to pay the bills. There were two abstracts. One was dated October 12th, which is just the wire transfers that the county does. And the other is October 14th. So I'm looking for a motion
So move for both.
for both. Okay, and second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion?
I was looking at the golf course
bill, and I was a little confused on that. There was two people, and then there was 5 things. I don't know what it was. I was just confused on it.
She did not communicate to us at all. The bill was submitted, and then you spoke to Samantha, am I correct? About the golf lessons?
Trying to remember.
There was a note
No,
on the
those
bill.
got dropped off, I think, in
But
my box.
There was a note that says that you confirmed the bill with Samantha.
Yes, I did
Yeah.
call her,
It
yes.
was-
That there were 5 kids that had lessons
Mhm.
during the course of the summer.
And memberships for,
Yeah, and then there was something
Oh.
about one had prepaid for a membership, but I guess that was shifted somewhere.
Yeah, in fact, I took a picture of it. It says we had 2 students for golf lessons this year from the Lake Pleasant area, I guess. 1 student paid for their membership prior to taking lessons. I don't know what that means.
thank you.
Yeah, but then we still got billed for 5.
Yeah, then there were students at $45 each for lessons, $225. And it was, I think it was 5 junior memberships at $60 each for $300. Now, I'm just confused about the 2 students for golf lessons, and then we're paying for 5.
Well, do we want to pull that bill and,
Pull that bill
I
and
think
have,
we should
and
pull it.
because we don't even have names. The bill was submitted by the golf course
Without that,
without,
let's pull it.
I got them right here.
Yes, but I mean,
yeah, we don't know.
yeah, just for
I mean, when
clarity.
Oak Mountain submits their bill, we get a list of each
course.
student's
Yeah.
name.
I thought you had that, it just wasn't
No.
on this invoice.
It was a big surprise to us.
Then I amend my
Yeah.
resolution for accepting, setting this one aside.
Yeah.
You just motion to.
That will be on
Or
our,
discuss.
that will be on our list to discuss
With
when
Sam.
we, with Sam, and
Yes,
we
we're
need the
gonna
list
send this,
so that we can send a bill to Arietta for the Arietta kids that went on our trips. That has got to be done.
Well, we'll just pull that and then it's as amended.
Did you want to see it? Okay, and I do want to mention that you all saw a Century Linen bill in here. That was only for half a month. That's the
Right.
last one we will ever see. And our new
Yeah.
rugs look great.
They do,
Thank you, Randy and Eileen, for finding them.
Yeah.
they're good ones,
Okay, so,
they're piled.
Does
other
that
than,
make sense to you, Rochelle?
No, it does not make sense at all.
Just more
Well,
So
clarity.
I can,
I mean, Oak Mountain has many more people and they give us names for
Yeah.
their,
well, what I don't understand, I know,
right.
I will talk to Christy about this as well, because she's the one that gives the lessons, Christy will. And I believe she wrote this letter, so maybe I can try to clarify that with her and
Okay.
find out about those numbers too.
okay.
Right, but then Pam in the office should have that clipped on there so that, just pull it and,
Okay,
Okay, next
so
one.
we pulled voucher number 2392, which is the Lake Pleasant Golf Course for the youth rec golf lessons. Other than that, so Neil, do you,
yeah, it's just
That's
as
done.
we
amended.
just pulled the one amended? Okay,
Don, second, second.
Yeah, I'll second.
okay. Okay, perfect. Is there any further discussion? Good catch, Don.
Very.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next is public comment.
And she's going to look at me. See, what I tell you? Well, first I have a question before I make a comment. So is that allowed?
Sure.
I wanted to ask Stephanie something you had said. You had said that when you talked to Megan, who apparently is the insurance broker, that she had said, or you had said CDPHP was significantly more than the, and you not have MVP coverage, is that what it's
And
on?
everything.
That CDPHP was significantly more for, was it comparable coverage? that
With
we
what they
had?
have now, yes.
Did they also, oh, okay, so was CDPHP was significantly more for the same
For the
comparable?
same comparable plan.
Okay, and she didn't mention whether they had a vacation rider available on CDPHP.
No.
Okay, all right, okay. I I'm surprised it was significantly more, but it was. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it was. Yeah, I was surprised that there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of other options unless you're crunching in other directions either.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just surprised that it was significantly because it's a nonprofit insurance company and they're usually competitive.
This physician
Yeah.
owned.
Yeah, and they do, they are a nonprofit
Yeah.
type of the thing. That's why when she said significantly more,
Yeah.
I was surprised, so. Second thing, that's enough of the questions. The comment part of it, this Wednesday, 3 o'clock, is the Adopt a Highway program that the library is sponsoring. 3 o'clock at the boat wash station to meet, and Nancy Welch has been very good on setting this up with DOT. She will have all of the equipment, the vests and what other paraphernalia you need. I have not done this before. Those of you who have might know, what she has, but whatever Nancy has will be 3 o'clock at the boat wash station, and we do the mile from Downey Avenue down to, I noticed the new sign today, Camp Fowler, then comes Drag, I think the Somerville Club, one of the Somerville clubs, and then Camp Fowler just got a section. So now that whole section is going to be covered all the way down.
Very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, so those of you who can, I appreciate it if you'd show up and see what, we get the 2 parking areas, but Nancy, I know we get the
That's
parking
fabulous.
areas, but, so those of you who can show up, that would be great, appreciate the help.
Do we have a good number of people signed up at this time?
She didn't seem to indicate that.
Do we have
I-
poker sticks?
You know, that's something I don't know. Do they supply
They don't
that
give
too?
them,
no.
They don't?
No, no.
There's 2 at the town, I know that,
Right.
You have poker sticks?
Yeah.
No?
that we built for
Oh,
Main Street Adventures.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Dr. Highway doesn't give that.
So if you
They
would put
don't?
them in my office,
I know
I'm
they
going
give
to
you
do it,
vests.
so I'll take
That's
them.
all.
And probably garbage bags.
I think that maybe.
Not my estimate, in my
You
experience.
don't think they give you a garbage bag?
Thank you.
But if you can find out the numbers for
BYOB.
Really?
Well, we know
Many,
of at least
a big roll of them.
4,
She didn't say
Okay.
the print them.
But
5.
she may be arranging that,
Oh, that's true.
Didn't make up as many broomsticks as
I
you
don't
have.
know. But I'm hoping,
What day is that again?
it's this Wednesday
At
at
3.
3 o'clock. Unfortunately, the picture that was in the paper and the write-up had the time at 2 o'clock. And it also had Nancy's wrong phone number.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was a nice.
But other than that,
Picture
the
was
write-
great.
They can
other
start
than that,
at 2.
the
Wow.
write-up was good. But the 2
A
main
very, very
pieces
good.
of information were wrong. So,
what's the weather Wednesday?
nice, supposed to, it's
Oh,
gonna be a beautiful
better.
day.
Good.
It's gonna be a great day.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rain or snow.
Snow.
Snow in the morning.
Yeah. Is it morning?
Snow
or
in the
afternoon?
morning.
And it'll cover the garbage and removes it.
The
No,
strange
no,
thing
it's not
that,
going to stick.
what Nancy's email to me said, it is suggested you don't wear sneakers, but that you wear significant, strong type of boots or
Mud
shoes.
boots?
Mud boots.
Mud boots.
Other-
If you got the
but
parking
take
lots,
your Uggs
mud
out,
boots.
you know?
You're gonna get
So
up.
anyway, so hopefully there's not a lot of
You just
garbage and
you
we'll.
just decided that parking lot.
Okay. Anything else, Nancy?
No, that's it,
Thanks.
thank you. Oh, Dave will take down the small signs
Okay,
tomorrow.
Nancy, I see you waving.
Okay, just one thing, and it's weird. My only complaint of the LED lights, when I was driving in this torrential rain,
They're terrible.
when you go under the light, there's a moment
messier.
that you cannot see out of your windshield because it totally reflects
Glare,
or
yeah.
does something off the windshield. And I never experienced that before, and it was every light all the way from my
That is
house.
significantly
What?
brighter.
What vehicle
Oh,
do you
yeah,
drive?
yeah.
What vehicle do you drive?
Oh, Mazda.
Well, I see if Mazda makes it anti-glare.
Okay, that was it. I told you it was on. Okay. Anybody else? No? Okay. Round table. Kathy?
The Lake Pleasant 6th grade will be doing Wreaths Across America this year, if anybody's interested in sponsoring a wreath. We have mailed out letters to previous sponsors, but the more we spread the word, the better.
Yeah, that was what I did. what the expenses were.
I assume I got a custom one because I did last year.
Custom.
Custom.
With a little note from a sixth grader.
Exactly, with my name on it.
In pencil. Rochelle, anything?
They're learning.
Nothing. Okay, Neil?
Okay.
Don?
Just, my, I don't know what you call it, against litter on the
Mission,
highway.
mission.
Mission. This was found when I picked up out of the town parking lot on Saturday.
Really?
And there was others along the road that I didn't wade through the grass to get. But it is from Long Island Pipe Supply.
Really?
Yeah, and it's got all of their customers and what they owe, what's 30-day overdue.
Oh,
So
Here's somebody's trash.
Shall I try to get information and call him and
No.
tell him I have his
Any dates?
paperwork?
Any dates there? I think this is trash.
11/30/12. Yeah, it's trash.
Yeah. This is
Okay,
10-year-old business things that somebody, same as some of the stuff Don's been
somebody
really
moved
good
up.
out there.
Wow.
Yeah, so-
How did that?
somebody moved up and
Just
brought the
bags
boxes
of
of
crap
paper.
off the
Honestly,
back of a pickup.
It could have been as easy as someone coming to see Steve Friday for a permit or information, because he's had a couple of new people in Thursday and Friday last week, and it could have fallen out of their truck, and they didn't realize it, you know?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I
It
hate
could be
to-
innocent.
But it was a lot.
I hate to
Yeah.
say this, but some people do bring their garbage up
Yeah.
because it's cheaper to get rid of it here than it is
One
down
step
where
off
they
the
live.
street.
Mhm.
I would have thought that this would be after Columbus Day.
Mm-hmm.
That looked in that dumpster this morning. You had to jam the lids down.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Even in North Creek, if you bring a bag of garbage
Crowded the last 2
to
years.
their recycle center, it's $6 for the bag.
But they only put the dumpster.
Yeah.
So most people don't know.
Wow.
You might have mentioned it at the last meeting. Do you still have to separate
I
recyclables?
was just gonna ask the same thing.
So, it is,
That's right.
You do have to separate?
no.
Oh.
It's
I
coming
heard the
forward here.
rumor.
I'm not
I
supposed
wanted
to
to
say
get-
this.
I wanted
Betsy's
to-
probably blaring it out,
I
but
wanted to
Tracy
get-
has not admitted it yet in
I wanted to
public
get the official
or
word.
at the
Keep
official.
doing what you're doing until you read it in the paper. The county is supposed to be putting a full-page ad in
Oh.
explaining how they're going to do it.
It's here.
We
though.
did sign the contract, it is here, but it's a bit confusing. People are going to the transfer station, because I was down there Friday talking to the guys, and people think they don't have to recycle at all anymore, and they're throwing
Oh,
everything in one
everything.
bag. We were also told that when our guys take the recyclables down, they don't have to sort through the bags anymore. Indeed, they do have to sort through the bags, and I told the guys at the transfer station, there's a lot of questions with that, because we thought they didn't, and now you're telling people that they have to. There's a lot of confusion, so I think we need to sit back and continue doing what we're doing until we actually
And
get the
the big
final.
reason is
coming.
that
It is definitely
the
coming,
dilemma
and it
is
will be easier.
people are putting
Once it's here.
garbage in the recyclables. And that is a big no-no where this goes.
And if you
And
take
that's
it like,
why the guys are having to open up the bags and dump them in there, because it doesn't
Sure.
take too long where we take this, they're gonna say
Say
no.
no more.
And we don't want that, we're finally making a step in the right way. So, is it being sorted? No, but it's being processed still because people are not doing, you know what I mean?
So,
Right.
I say that the county needs to really get going on this whole, put it in the paper thing and get going, so,
So cans and plastic can go together.
correct.
Glass has to be separate,
Cans, plastic, and paper.
And paper,
And all
and
go
paper, and cardboard has to be separate
Cardboard
and
was-
not tied up.
right, but for us to transport it, cardboard has to be tied up,
See,
because the wind blows it out of the back of the trucks.
are you still tagging? But see, people go to the dump by themselves
Yeah.
and throw things in the dumpster, and you should hear the glass smash. And it's like,
When all they gotta do is turn around and throw it in the other dumpster.
uh-huh.
You can't fix stupid.
Just want to make a mention too, and this is just kind of off the cuff thinking about this. We have an employee that's out with a long-term illness, And I just want to say that our current highway employees have been very generous with vacation time, donating, because she's used up a lot of her time already, and they're being really generous about it. So I just want to mention, we have a really great group of employees at the town.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, anything else in roundtable? Just me. All I want to do is just read this from Nancy Bernstein. Everybody recognize that name? Hello, Betsy. Did I correctly see LED streetlights along the highway as I drove through Lake Pleasant last week? Last I was involved, a few individuals were concerned with LED wattage and the spacing of poles. I never heard if project moved forward. If completed, the town can submit this high-impact action to NYSERDA as one of the 4 requirements to earn the $5,000 no-cost Share Clean Energy Communities designation grant. Then I can provide some other easy lift, no-cost actions to reach 4. Would you all like me to follow through on this and see what these other actions would be?
Have we gotten the 5,000?
No.
Are we going to?
The reimbursement fund, I actually hit her up again today. I hit her up July 5th. She told me it had to go possibly through 1, possibly 2 cycles of payroll through them, reimbursement. Then I contacted her again in late August. I just wrote all those dates down in the office too, because I sent her an email again today. And she told me she would check into it. I contacted her 3 weeks ago. She ignored it, so I contacted her today with all the dates and everything she said to me for each date. And can you please advise me, where do we stand on this? When will we be getting our reimbursement? And if it continues...
Nancy Bernstein, I mean, you're doing the...
Her?
Yeah, you're doing
Talk to
the...
her? I will.
No,
because
I'm
I-
saying, you're keeping your dates and you're jujitsuing.
I am.
Because she's full of details, Nancy Bernstein.
Well, and I have to tell you that Assemblyman Smollen's office is the one that got this project finally going for us, and I'm about ready to call them again and say, hey.
I would
Okay.
definitely do that.
Unless we see 5,000, I don't want to see another project from her.
Look at you. Yeah, I like that kind of talk.
You know what? I mean,
Yeah.
do this, get do
Wishes.
this, and this, and get this. But if you don't get this, then why keep
Right.
doing more projects?
Right. Well,
Checks in
according
the
to
mail,
her,
Kathy. Checks in the
according to her,
You want the other two? You want the other 2 big ones?
the next 3 are easy and of no cost. But anyway, so I wanted to read that to you and let you know. The other thing I just want to quickly mention, at last meeting, Gary Reinhardt had brought up about the communication issues from one town to another. About a week and a half ago at our County Board of Supervisors meeting, we approved local law number 11, which is the town of Arietta, and local law number 12, town of Morehouse lease agreements for the installation of the communication towers. So we are now to that point that the leases have gone through with the properties of the landowners, so they can move forward now. So I wanted to mention that to you guys.
For emergencies.
Frank
For
Malargese.
emergency.
Frank Malargese.
Who's he?
That's Smullen's.
Okay. No, let me just
Johnstown.
write that name down, Frank.
He's in the Johnstown Town Hall.
Yeah.
So 6'2",
And he
1426.
did not drag his feet, he moved right along when I called him.
Frank is an action man.
So, I know. Okay, so our next meeting will be on Monday, November 7th, which will be our public hearing on the budget at 7 p.m. here at the Town of Lake Pleasant Library. And I am looking for a motion to adjourn.
And I am anxiously making that motion.
And a second.
Second.
Okay? Have a good night, everybody.
Anxiously. Anxious.
So,
I allow myself after the meeting.
So let's
Can I have a little glass of bourbon?
let's get there.
And I would like to have the night.
hello.
I have no dog in the baseball.
Denise.
Still made it in New York.
He wasn't a little, but he doesn't. I mentioned that.
What did you say?
But there is a football game tonight.
Yeah, let's try
Where was
it.
it,
John
Green?
has a gig, so
Yeah.
I
Where was
think
it,
we should
Green?
go.
I
do not follow.
No, that's a Dave thing.
We're gonna find
I
out.
went to my one Boston game with Allison.
Boston, what?
I know it's wrong.
Yeah, I'll have to remember right now.
Fenway, I'm not an American Red Dot, but Fenway is one of the few that I have visited. It's worth it. Night, Ray.
What's this,
Second Randy, I'll be in late tomorrow. I
No.
had disappointed at
Reading
8.
up on the
Yeah,
Monster?
so I'll be in late.
I'll be right here at the park.
No,
Okay,
no.
thank you.
They opened the glass door,
All day.
fencing and they were right in the outfield.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one was
I've been there.
Like me if I bring it back to the house, they check.
But it's always, you know, meet the friends.
See you later, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you, Paul, have a good morning.
So,
But, I would love to get there early, do take the tour behind the Green Monster and, climb up on things and whatnot. I would love to.
I just talked down exactly what
Those boxes are on
Oh, yes.
They look like fun.
Yep.
three of them.
So I went with
Oh, my God.
Allison and she went to school with Trinity.
Oh, okay.
So I taught there for a
And
while.
Betsy looked at it.
So two of her friends,
And I
Allison,
hate doing
they Quincy,
Sometimes
took
we
the
need to
tea in,
get back to
did the thing,
I'm heading on Friday. I'm going to stay in the harbor with their,
Well, you know what,
they
maybe we
won
need
a
to
contest in
let's-
the fancy hotel, so
That's kind of where
I'm bunking with
I
him.
have a feeling.
And then see the grandkids.
Yes,
I'll go to Boston and then see the grandkids.
I agree.
We almost had
Little monsters.
Oh, I
that they
see
are.
what you're saying.
But boy, he's a social
They didn't
fan.
want to.
So, I mean, if we have to start thinking about this, then we need to start to raise the caps on.
Well, I mean, they're fun,
Want to
they're
know why
fun.
your kid didn't get one?
No.
The girl's okay, but
Don't you think?
So I
he is 4 years old.
I said to her,
Hey, Neil, we gotta roll these tables in the middle and put those chairs around the table.
Great.
She didn't shop. She said
Donated to the library.
it was all way up.
14,000, 15,000.
We were ready.
She was originally headed in her will.
Nancy was like,
I'm not sure we know what we're doing.
Yeah,
Yes, well, that's how they go. They go
I just moved that.
to
They go
Together?